Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring AI in higher education, specifically what faculty are really thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a hot topic, a lot of buzz.
It really is. And we're not just talking about the technology itself, right? But like the human element.
Absolutely. The hopes, the fears, how AI might change teaching and learning, all of that.
Totally. And we've got some great data to dive into today. A 2025 global survey by the Digital Education Council.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, over 1,600 faculty members across 28 countries. So we've got a lot to unpack.
A truly global perspective. That's what's so valuable about this one.
Exactly. And one of the things that jumped out at me was that 61% of faculty have already used AI in some way for teaching.
Wow, 61%. That's higher than I would have guessed, honestly.
Me too. It seems like things are moving even faster than we thought.
It does, doesn't it? And it makes you wonder, how are those who haven't started using it yet feeling?
Right. Are they feeling the pressure?
Maybe, maybe not. But the survey did say that most faculty are still using AI for, creating materials.
Oh, interesting. So not necessarily overhauling their whole approach.
Not yet, anyway. More like, administrative tasks, stuff like that.
Okay, so being strategic, focusing on areas where AI can help them save time.
Exactly. Streamline their workflow. Which makes sense, right?
Yeah, faculty are busy, but I wonder if this cautious approach also suggests some concerns.
Oh, for sure. The survey specifically mentions a lack of time, a lack of resources, and worry about negative impacts.
It does seem like there's a lot of uncertainty around AI.
There is, but also a decent amount of optimism. 57% of faculty had positive feelings towards AI in education.
That is encouraging, but 30% were neutral.
Right, so not opposed, but not sold yet either. Sitting on the fence a bit.
Makes sense. And of course, we have to talk about jobs.
The big question, right? Will AI threaten faculty jobs?
It's on everyone's mind. And the survey found over half of faculty don't think so. 51%.
So a slight majority, but still, a lot of people are unsure.
Absolutely. Unsure about what the future holds.
Speaking of the future, 86% of faculty think they'll be using AI in the future.
Wow, 86%. So it's not a matter of IF, but how they'll use it.
Exactly. And how is still fuzzy. A lot of faculty are still in that exploratory phase.
Figuring things out. Makes sense.
And trying to figure out how to prepare students for a future that will have AI.
That's a huge point. 66% of faculty believe incorporating AI is necessary to prepare students for an AI-driven workforce.
A future where AI is just everywhere, in every industry.
Wow. So faculty are calling for a major overhaul in how we assess students.
Seems like that. Yeah, 54% want significant changes to assessment.
To make them more AI-resistant?
AI-resistant assignments. It's a new term, but it makes sense.
Definitely. It's about pushing students to think critically in ways that AI can't.
At least not yet. And that ties into another big concern, students' ability to know if something was made by AI.
Yeah, that's huge, with AI getting more and more sophisticated.
How can students tell the difference? How do we teach them to be discerning?
These are big questions. And the survey also found that 80% of faculty felt their institution's AI guidelines weren't comprehensive enough.
Wow, 80%? That's a lot of faculty feeling unsupported.
And another 80% said their institution hadn't made it clear how AI could or couldn't be used.
So much uncertainty.
Right. They're being asked to use AI, but without a clear roadmap.
And only 6% of faculty are fully satisfied with the resources provided for AI literacy development.
That's a tiny percentage. It's clear that faculty want more training, more resources, clearer guidelines.
Absolutely. They want best practices. Real-world examples.
And I thought it was interesting that the survey identified two distinct groups of faculty. The early explorers.
Ah, yes, those who are just dipping their toes into the AI waters.
Exactly. And then you have the proficient adopters.
The ones who are already using AI in more sophisticated ways. More confident, more comfortable.
And guess what? They're actually less worried about AI as a job threat.
Really? So the more you know about AI, the less you fear it?
It seems that way. Familiarity maybe breeds acceptance.
Maybe. But it also shows that faculty are really open to exploring AI in specific areas.
Oh, like what?
Designing courses, creating assignments, generating teaching materials, things like that.
Okay, so more on the practical side.
Right. But they're more hesitant about using AI for grading, for example, or giving feedback.
That makes sense. Those are areas where the human touch is so important.
Exactly. Areas where empathy and understanding are crucial.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have, and it's clear that AI is already shaking things up in higher education.
It really is, but there's still so much to explore, so much to discuss.
Absolutely, and we'll continue that discussion in our next part.
So be sure to join us then as we delve deeper into the ethical implications of AI in higher ed.
It's going to be a fascinating conversation.
You know, it's interesting. As we talk about AI in the classroom, I keep thinking, this is more than just about tech, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And we talked about, a fundamental shift in how we think about education.
Exactly, a paradigm shift, almost, and that brings up a whole bunch of new questions.
Absolutely. Like, how do we actually integrate AI into something as human-centered as education?
Right, because it's not like you can just plug in a robot teacher and call it a day.
Definitely not. AI is a tool, a powerful one, sure, but we have to be thoughtful about how we use it.
I think that's a really important point. It's not about replacing teachers or replacing learning, right?
Right. And that brings us to student concerns, which we touched on earlier.
The survey highlighted that over-reliance on AI was a big one.
Yeah, I can see why that would be a concern.
Me too. If AI can write essays, solve math problems, why bother learning those skills, right?
It's a valid question. But I think the key is to use AI to enhance those skills, not replace them.
So it's like a partnership, almost. Students and AI working together.
I like that, a partnership. But for that to work, students need to be able to think critically about AI, I guess.
Exactly. They need to be able to tell if the information AI is giving them is accurate or not.
Because it's not always right. And students need to know that, just like with any other source of information.
Which brings us back to the need for strong critical thinking skills and digital literacy skills.
Yes, essential for navigating the digital world. And it's not just on the students, right?
You're talking about institutions.
Yeah, institutions need to step up too. Provide training and resources for both students and faculty.
Because remember, 80% of faculty felt their institution's guidelines on AI weren't good enough.
Right, and another 80% said their institution wasn't clear about how AI could be used in teaching.
So much confusion. It's no wonder faculty are feeling anxious.
Exactly. It's like they're being asked to use this powerful tool without an instruction manual.
And without knowing what the rules are, it's about transparency, isn't it?
It is. Institutions need to be upfront with faculty about their plans for AI.
Give them the training they need, the resources, the support.
And it's not just about the technical stuff, right?
You're talking about the ethical side.
Yeah, the big questions like, what are the implications of using AI in the classroom? How do we make sure it's used ethically?
Those are conversations we need to be having, and faculty need to feel like they have a voice in those conversations.
Absolutely. It's about giving them agency, letting them shape how AI is used in their classrooms.
Because what works in one class might not work in another, right?
Exactly. A history professor might use AI very differently from a computer science professor.
So we need to create space for experimentation. Let faculty find what works best for them and their students.
But always within a framework of ethical considerations.
Because AI isn't a magic solution. It has its limitations. We have to be mindful of that.
And we have to remember that AI is a tool, not a replacement for the human element of teaching.
That connection between teacher and student, that's still at the heart of it all.
You know, it's interesting. The way we're dealing with AI in education, it reminds me of how society as a whole is reacting to AI.
I see what you mean, that mix of excitement and anxiety.
Exactly. People are excited about the potential, but also worried about the risks.
And in both cases, we need good leadership to guide us. People who are committed to using AI responsibly.
People who aren't afraid to have the tough conversations, to acknowledge the challenges.
Because the success of AI, whether in education or just in general, it comes down to us using it wisely.
It's about remembering that AI is a tool, not a master.
We get to decide how we use it, what kind of future we build with it.
And that future, it's not set in stone. We're creating it right now with the choices we make.
And those choices are being made everywhere, in classrooms, in universities, in governments.
So let's make those choices carefully. Let's be cautious but also optimistic.
Let's use AI to create opportunities, not to create problems.
And never forget that human desire to learn, to grow. That's what matters most.
Whether we have AI or not, we've talked a lot about the challenges, the concerns, but what about the good stuff? What about the potential of AI?
Oh yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. AI could really transform education in some amazing ways.
Totally. Like, let's not forget, AI is a tool. It's all about how we use it.
Exactly. And one area where it has huge potential is personalization.
Personalization, yeah. Imagine a learning experience that's truly tailored to each student.
Right. Not one size fits all. Each student gets what they need.
AI could create those personalized learning pathways, providing customized feedback.
Adjusting the pace, offering support where it's needed.
Students could learn so much more effectively.
They'd be more engaged, more motivated, because it's relevant to them.
And it's not just about students. AI can help faculty, too.
Oh, absolutely. Think about all the time faculty spend on grading, lesson planning.
AI could automate a lot of that, right? Freeing up time for more meaningful things.
Like mentoring students, advising, having those deeper conversations.
Exactly. And AI can also provide faculty with insights into student learning.
You're talking about data, right? Using AI to analyze student performance.
Yeah, identifying patterns, seeing where students are struggling.
It's like having a superpowered teaching assistant. giving faculty actionable insights.
To help them make better decisions about curriculum, teaching strategies.
To constantly improve the learning experience for everyone.
And let's not forget about how AI could create more engaging, interactive learning.
The possibilities are endless there. Virtual labs, simulations.
AI-powered tutors that can give real-time feedback.
We could really bring learning to life.
It's exciting to think about, but we have to be realistic too, right?
Of course, AI isn't a magic wand. It has its limitations.
And we can't let it replace that human connection that's so essential to education.
Absolutely. AI can enhance teaching, but we can't replace the role of a good teacher.
That mentorship, that guidance, that inspiration, that's irreplaceable.
So as we move forward, we need to keep that human element at the forefront.
Use AI to empower, not to replace. To create opportunities, not to widen gaps.
And to ultimately build a better future for education, a future that benefits everyone.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the challenges, the concerns, the potential of AI in higher ed.
It's clear that AI is already changing the game, and that impact is only going to grow.
We've talked about the need for clear ethical guidelines, for strong support from institutions, and for collaboration between everyone involved.
But most importantly, we've emphasized that AI is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it.
To make sure it's used responsibly, ethically, and in a way that truly benefits students and faculty.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a few questions to think about.
What role do you see AI playing in your own work, in your own life?
What are your hopes and fears for the future of AI in education?
And what can we do together to make sure that future is a positive one?
These are big questions. But by having these conversations, by working together,
we can shape a future where AI helps us learn, grow, and create in ways we never thought possible.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
And we hope it sparked a conversation that will continue long after this episode is over.